Hi friends, and welcome to this week's installment of Game On Beat the Experts, brought to you by Goodrich & Geist, attorneys at law. I'm Rob Longo. Both Mike Byers and Andrew Chiappesi are off this week. It's a busy week as we get ready for tournament action. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the top tournaments from around the area. Let's begin with some boys tournaments, beginning with the Moon Tournament. This will be Thursday at Moon Area High School. It's Cornell against Ambridge, and then Moon against Hopewell. The winners of those two games will then play Friday for the championship. The losers will play for the consolation game. Cornell is 6-1 this season, faces Ambridge, and that's a team that's kind of struggled this season to start the season with a 2-3 overall record. This will be a good test for the Raiders, who have played mostly smaller schools, with the exception of Hopewell this season, which was the first game of the year and eked out a 1-point win. Meanwhile, Moon's off to a 3-1 start, back behind Jared Simmons, the senior who came back and transferred back to the area, stands at 6-8. However, the Tigers haven't played a game since December 15th because of a section game against Chartiers Valley that was supposed to be played last Thursday, was postponed. Overall, I like Moon in this tournament, mostly because of Simmons, but it will be a good test for the Cornell Raiders moving forward with a couple of wins. Let's take a look at the girls' side now with the LGKG Classic. This is going to be played at Riverside High School. It's a round-robin tournament that starts Wednesday. Features 3 local teams, Beaver, Hopewell, and of course Riverside. Some intriguing games to look at will be on Thursday. That's Chartiers Houston against Beaver. That's going to be at 6 o'clock. And then on Thursday, Riverside at Freeport. That's at 8 following the conclusion of the Beaver-Chartiers Houston game. Beaver against Chartiers Houston. We'll take a look at that one first. Chart Houston's 5-1 on the season with wins over Olsh and Moon, while Beaver continues to be consistent, defeating Central Valley 68-37 last week. That'll be an interesting game for Beaver, at least, just because of the fact that last year the Bobcats went up to the LGKG Classic and lost to a very talented Riverside. And speaking of Riverside, the Panthers play Freeport. As I said, at the conclusion of that game, the Yellow Jackets, Freeport that is, 5-2 on the season, includes a 58-5 win over Valley in section play. Regardless of how good Valley is, that's a very impressive score and a very impressive margin to only let up 5 points the entire game. Riverside, 5-1 this season, hasn't missed a beat since graduating a wealth of talent last year, including Katie Stang, as well as Sydney Wolf, who remains to be there for Riverside. She's really stepped up and taken over for the Panthers. Now, the big one that everybody always flocks to, it seems, is the CJ Betters RBA Holiday Classic that has both boys and girls tournaments. Boys, 2 divisions, the Gray Division and the Blue Division. Let's look at the Gray Division first. Thursday, Lincoln Park takes on Highlands. That's at 5:30. Following that game is Central Valley against Monessen. Highlands upset Newcastle last year in the WPIAL semifinals before losing to Beaver Falls and are off to another good start. Lincoln Park on the other side, playing at West Palm Beach, Florida, 8:30 Wednesday evening, playing a tournament there. They're going to hop on a plane, play Highlands at 5:30 the following day. 2 games in less than 24 hours. If the Lepers aren't jet-lagged, I like Nellie Cummings and company to win that Gray Division, but it's going to be tough sledding, especially because Monessen isn't a slouch on the other side of things as well. In the boys' Blue Division, Beaver takes on Pine Richland. That's at 4 o'clock. On Thursday, Beaver Falls and Aliquippa will play at 8:30. Let's take a look at the Beaver-Pine Richland game first. Beaver might be 4-2, but the Bobcats haven't played a very tough team like Pine Richland this season, who is a perfect 5-0 on the year and is considered a very heavy favorite in that upper echelon in that Class 6A division. On Thursday, it could be interesting because also Beaver Falls and Aliquippa. That would be a heck of a game to cap off the Thursday evening at the CJ Betters tournament last year. This year, it's been a different story for both Beaver Falls and Aliquippa. The Quips have struggled a little bit, losing 3 games, 2-3 on the record. The record is this season. On the other side, though, Beaver Falls has had a little bit of a tough sledding as well. Not quite the way that Aliquippa has, but at the same time, losing Donovan Jeter to an early graduation, but still having Josh Creech and Torian Leak definitely does help. I think that Beaver Falls wins that Aliquippa game on Thursday night, but Friday in the championship, it's going to be Pine Richland. Pine Richland's just too good of a team. On the girls' division, it's Quigley Catholic against Aliquippa and Central Valley against Freedom. Those are Thursday games. Quigley Catholic and Aliquippa playing at 11 a.m., and then Central Valley and Freedom follow that game in the early afternoon. Quigley Catholic is 3-2 after dropping the first 2 games of the season to those bigger schools such as Bell Vernon and Ambridge. Central Valley got beat up against Beaver, like I said earlier, in section play last week, but faces a Freedom team that's lost 5 straight games. So Quigley's fared fairly well without Gabby Smith, who graduated last season. Central Valley is also a young team on the rise. I think those 2 teams win Thursday, playing the championship on Friday. I give the slight edge to Central Valley just because the Warriors have a lot of young talent and a little bit more depth than Quaker Valley has had in the previous years, and of course this year as well. All those games, the Bettors Tournament, the first rounds will be Thursdays, and then the championship games will be played on Friday. Of course, you can keep track of all of these games at timesonline.com and get real-time updates with a follow of us on Twitter at the account TimesScores and hashtag TimesHoops. So that will do it for this week's episode of Beat the Experts. Make sure you join us next week for the latest installment of Beat the Experts, as well as our first edition of Game On the Record for the new year.